Hello, unstoppable souls. Welcome back to another life-changing session, where today we unlock the ultimate secret to transforming your reality. This is not just another lesson, it's a call to awaken the warrior within you, to shatter every limitation, and to claim the greatness that is your birthright. So prepare your mind, fuel your spirit, and step into your power because today everything changes. Rejection is one of the most intense emotional experiences we can face. It stings, it breaks, and it often leaves us questioning ourselves. But what if that rejection isn't the end of your story? What if it's the spark that ignites a fire within you, a fire so fierce, so unstoppable, that it transforms everything? That's the truth many fail to see when they feel cast aside by someone they admire or love. Rejection doesn't diminish your worth, it challenges you to rise and reclaim your power. When someone turns away from you, it can feel like a door closing. But in reality, it's a window being flung open to possibilities you never imagined. That moment of rejection is not about them, it's about you. It's about how you choose to respond to the pain. Do you let it consume you, or do you let it awaken something greater within you? That's where your power lies, in the choice to transform pain into fuel. This isn't just a process of healing, it's a process of becoming. Imagine this: someone rejects you and it feels as though your world has come crashing down. But as the initial pain fades, you begin to see the truth. They didn't reject you because you're unworthy. They rejected you because they couldn't see the brilliance of who you are. And that's their limitation, not yours. Instead of letting their decision define you, let it be the fire that pushes you to rise higher. Let it awaken the unstoppable force within you that no one, not even the person who hurt you, can control. This fire isn't about proving them wrong or seeking revenge. It's about proving to yourself that you are limitless. It's about stepping into your own light, becoming so radiant that their rejection becomes insignificant in the face of your transformation. The fire within you doesn't need their approval to burn brightly. It only needs your belief in yourself. The moment you stop seeking validation from others and start validating your own worth, everything changes. You become magnetic, powerful, and untouchable. Rejection has a way of bringing out parts of us we didn't even know existed. It forces us to confront our fears, our doubts, and our insecurities, but it also gives us the chance to rewrite our story. It's not about changing who you are to fit someone else's idea of perfection. It's about stepping fully into who you were always meant to be. The rejection isn't the end, it's the beginning of a new chapter where you take center stage in your own life. What they don't realize is that their rejection is their loss, not yours. They may think they've walked away from you, but what they've actually done is light a fire they can't control. They've triggered a transformation in you that will make you unrecognizable, not because you've changed to please them, but because you've embraced your true self. That kind of growth is unstoppable. It's the kind of growth that makes you shine so brightly that they'll eventually look back and wonder why they ever let you go. But by the time they realize it, you won't be waiting. You'll have moved on, not out of spite, but because you'll have grown into someone who no longer needs their validation. You'll have built a life so full, so beautiful, that their rejection will seem like a distant memory. And that's the real power of rejection. It pushes you to become someone who doesn't just survive but thrives. It's not just about bouncing back, it's about bouncing forward. It's about taking the pain and turning it into purpose. It's about using the fire within you to light up every corner of your life, leaving no room for self-doubt or fear. The person who rejected you may have thought they were closing a door, but they were actually opening the floodgates to your greatness. They may have thought they were walking away from someone ordinary, but they were actually walking away from someone extraordinary. This is your moment to rise, to let the fire they lit burn so brightly that it transforms not just how you see yourself, but how the world sees you. To take the pain of rejection and turn it into the power of self-discovery. This is your moment to show yourself what you're truly capable of. Because the truth is, rejection doesn't break you. It builds you, it molds you into someone so strong, so resilient, and so radiant that nothing can hold you back. So let the fire burn. Let it consume every doubt, every fear, every limitation you've ever placed on yourself. Let it fuel your journey toward becoming the person you were always meant to be. And when they look back, they'll see that their rejection didn't break you, it awakened you. They'll see that the fire they thought they could control has become something far greater than they ever imagined. And by then, you'll be too far ahead to even care. Rejection cuts deeply, doesn't it? It hits you in places you didn't even know existed. The sting of being turned away by someone you care for, someone you trusted, can feel unbearable. But what if that moment, that pain, wasn't a breaking point? What if it was a turning point? A moment that sets a fire inside you, a fire that not only burns but transforms you into something extraordinary. It's in those moments of rejection that you have the power to redefine everything. When someone rejects you, it feels personal. You start questioning yourself, wondering what you could have done differently or what you lacked. But here's the truth: their rejection is rarely about you. It's about them. It's about their inability to recognize your worth, their failure to see your light. And that is their loss, not yours. They might think they're walking away from you, but what they've done is something far more profound. They've lit a fire in you that they cannot control. This fire is not about anger or resentment. It's not about wanting to prove them wrong. No, this fire is about you. It's about awakening a part of you that perhaps you've kept hidden, a part of you that is strong, resilient, and unstoppable. This fire is your opportunity to take back your power, to remind yourself of who you truly are. When someone rejects you, it's not the end of your story, it's the beginning of a new chapter where you rise higher than you ever thought possible. I think of it this way: every rejection is an opportunity to grow. It's a moment to reflect, to see yourself clearly, and to embrace your true potential. Sometimes rejection is the universe's way of redirecting you to something greater. It's a signal to stop looking outward for validation and start looking inward for strength. Because when you start believing in yourself, when you start valuing yourself, you become unstoppable. The fire that rejection lights within you has the power to transform not only how you see yourself, but how the entire world sees you. And here's the thing: they can't stop it. The person who rejected you may think they've moved on, but they have no idea what they've ignited. They've set something in motion that they can't control. This fire inside you will burn away every ounce of doubt, every shred of insecurity, leaving behind only strength, confidence, and clarity. And when you emerge from this transformation, you will be someone they can't ignore, someone they can't help but notice. But by then, you won't be waiting for their recognition. You'll be standing tall, knowing your worth and owning your power. The beauty of this fire is that it's yours. It doesn't depend on anyone else. It doesn't need anyone's approval or acknowledgement. This fire is fueled by your determination, your courage, and your desire to rise above. It's a fire that pushes you forward, that drives you to achieve things you once thought were impossible. And the more you feed it with self-love and belief, the brighter it burns. Rejection often feels like a door closing, but it's actually a window opening. It's a chance to break free from the limitations you may have placed on yourself. It's a chance to redefine who you are and what you stand for. The person who rejected you might think they've taken something away from you, but they've done the opposite. They've given you the gift of rediscovery, the chance to become the person you were always meant to be. And let's be honest, they'll notice. They'll see the transformation, the glow, the undeniable presence you carry. They'll remember the version of you they turned away from, and they'll realize what they've lost. But by the time they see it, you'll have moved so far beyond them that their opinion won't even matter. You'll be living a life so full, so vibrant, that their rejection will feel like a distant memory, a small stepping stone on your journey to greatness. This isn't about proving them wrong. It's about proving to yourself just how powerful you are. It's about taking the pain of rejection and turning it into fuel for your fire. It's about rising from the ashes of disappointment and becoming someone stronger, wiser, and more resilient. This is your story, and you have the power to write it however you choose. So let the fire burn. Let it burn away the pain, the doubt, and the fear. Let it light up the path to your dreams, your goals, and your true self. Because once this fire is lit, there's no stopping it. And the person who rejected you, they'll never be able to control the unstoppable force you've become. The sting of being turned away, of hearing someone say you're not enough, is a pain that can leave you feeling hollow. Rejection carries a heaviness that sits deep within your chest, reminding you of every vulnerability you've ever hidden. It's easy to let it consume you, to let it become a defining moment that pulls you into self-doubt. But what if rejection wasn't the ending you thought it was? What if it was the beginning of something far greater than you ever imagined? That moment of being overlooked or dismissed carries within it the potential for transformation so profound that it reshapes your entire world. When someone rejects you, your first instinct may be to internalize the pain. It feels like an attack on who you are, an evaluation of your worth that leaves you questioning yourself. But rejection is never about your value. It's a reflection of the other person's inability to recognize what you offer. Their choice says far more about them than it does about you. And that realization is where the shift begins. Rejection has the power to redirect you, to force you to look inward and rediscover parts of yourself you've forgotten or neglected. Pain often has a way of teaching us lessons we wouldn't otherwise learn. Rejection burns because it exposes a wound, an area in your life where you've been relying on external validation to feel whole. It's not easy to confront, but it's a gift in disguise. When someone closes the door on you, it's a chance to ask yourself, what do I truly believe about myself? That question can be the start of a journey toward unparalleled growth. It's not about proving your worth to them. It's about proving it to yourself. Rejection ignites something within you that can't be easily extinguished. That fire is fueled by your decision to rise above the circumstances, to turn pain into power. It's not about bitterness or revenge, it's about transformation. You begin to see the potential within yourself that doesn't rely on anyone else's approval. You realize that your strength has always been there, waiting for you to claim it. The rejection you experience becomes a catalyst for awakening a part of you that is determined, unshakable, and extraordinary. They might think they've walked away, leaving you broken or diminished, but they don't realize the depth of what they've triggered. They may believe they've left you behind, but in reality, you're just getting started. The fire they've unintentionally lit within you will drive you to heights you never thought possible. It will fuel you to focus on yourself in ways you've never done before. This is your moment to turn inward and embrace your strength, your creativity, and your resilience. Rejection also forces clarity. It strips away illusions and allows you to see the situation for what it really is. It shows you what you've been holding on to and whether it was truly meant for you. Sometimes the universe uses rejection as a tool to remove what no longer serves your highest good. What feels like loss in the moment is often protection in disguise. It's a nudge to let go of what's not aligned with your journey and to make room for something better. The beauty of transformation lies in your ability to rise from the ashes. Rejection doesn't destroy you, it rebuilds you. It's a painful but necessary step in becoming someone who doesn't just survive but thrives. The person who walked away, who couldn't see your light, won't be able to ignore it when you fully step into your power. But by then you won't need their acknowledgement. You'll have found a deeper sense of self-worth that is unshakable and untouchable. Rejection has a way of sharpening your focus. It redirects your energy away from trying to gain someone else's approval and toward building a life that reflects your true desires and potential. It pushes you to pour into yourself, to heal, to grow, and to create. You learn to let go of what's not for you, to stop chasing after what doesn't align with your spirit. Instead, you start to attract the people, opportunities, and experiences that are meant to elevate you. As you transform, something remarkable happens. You begin to glow in a way that's undeniable. The confidence, the peace, the self-love you cultivate radiate from within. The person who once dismissed you may notice, but their opinion no longer holds power over you. You've moved past the need for validation from anyone else. You've built a foundation within yourself so strong that no rejection can shake it. This journey isn't easy, but it's worth it. Every step you take away from needing someone else's acceptance brings you closer to your own. You discover that your worth was never tied to someone else's inability to see it. It was always there, waiting for you to claim it. Rejection may feel like a breaking point, but in truth, it's the beginning of a new chapter, one where you step into your greatness and never look back. The moment someone turns their back on you, rejecting everything you offered with such sincerity, it feels like the ground beneath you has crumbled. It's more than just disappointment, it's a deep ache, a wound that whispers doubt into your mind. You replay their words, their actions over and over, trying to decipher what went wrong. But rejection is rarely about you. What feels like the end is often the start of a transformation you never expected. They may have walked away thinking it was their choice, their control over the situation. But what they don't realize is that their rejection has planted a seed of power within you. That initial pain, that raw hurt, becomes the soil in which your strength begins to grow. It's not immediate. At first, it feels like you're lost, trying to navigate the emptiness they've left behind. But slowly, you start to find your footing again, not in them, but in yourself. Rejection has a strange way of redirecting your focus. It forces you to stop seeking validation from someone else and instead turn inward. You begin to question why their approval mattered so much. You start to realize that your value doesn't lie in their hands, it never did. Their inability to see your worth doesn't diminish it. Instead, it becomes a reminder to see yourself with clarity, to stop dimming your light just because someone else couldn't handle its brightness. That fire they ignited when they turned away from you, it starts to burn stronger. It's not fueled by bitterness or a desire for revenge, but by a deep realization that you are more than their rejection. This fire pushes you to grow, to evolve, to rise above the version of yourself that once craved their acceptance. You stop living in the shadow of their opinions and start creating a life that reflects your true self. As you transform, something remarkable happens. You begin to glow differently. The energy you once poured into them is now being poured into yourself. You focus on your growth, your passions, your dreams. You heal not because you need to prove anything to them, but because you owe it to yourself. You become someone who doesn't just survive rejection, but thrives because of it. And then, as if pulled by some invisible force, they begin to notice. They see the changes, the strength, the confidence that radiates from you. The person they thought they could walk away from has become someone they can't ignore. They start to feel the absence of your energy, your presence in their life. It's as if the rejection that once seemed so final has now flipped, leaving them questioning their own choices. But here's the beauty of it: you're no longer waiting for them to notice. By the time they realize what they lost, you've already moved forward. You've built a life that's so full, so vibrant, that their opinion no longer holds weight. Their return doesn't validate you because you've already learned to validate yourself. The power dynamic has shifted, and you're no longer the one seeking their approval. You've outgrown the need for their recognition. Rejection, though painful, has a way of forcing growth. It strips away the illusions and shows you what truly matters. It teaches you that your worth isn't determined by someone else's ability to see it. It's determined by how you see yourself, how you choose to rise from the pain, and how you use that pain to fuel your transformation. The person who rejected you may think they had control, but the truth is, their actions set you on a path they could never have predicted. Their rejection didn't break you, it built you. It pushed you to uncover strength and resilience you didn't know you had. And while they may return, drawn to the person you've become, you'll see them differently. You'll realize that the power was never theirs, it was always yours. Rejection is one of those experiences that leaves an indelible mark. It can feel like the world has shifted, like a piece of your heart has been torn away. It hurts in ways words can't fully express. Yet rejection holds an untapped power. What feels like an ending in the moment is often the spark of something much greater. That pain you feel? It's not just a wound, it's an awakening. It's a force stirring deep within you, one that has the potential to transform your entire life. When someone rejects you, it's easy to internalize it. You replay every moment, every word, questioning yourself over and over. But rejection isn't about who you aren't, it's about who you are becoming. In that moment of being turned away, something powerful happens. That pain begins to unlock a strength you didn't know you had. It's subtle at first, but then it grows like a fire that can't be extinguished. That fire isn't fueled by bitterness or anger, it's fueled by a deeper understanding of yourself. They may think that by walking away they've left you broken, but what they've really done is awaken a part of you that's been waiting to rise. Rejection forces you to confront everything you thought you needed from others and realize that everything you've ever needed has been within you all along. It strips away the illusions and forces you to see yourself for who you truly are. And in that raw, vulnerable place, you discover a resilience that's unshakable. Rejection feels like loss, but it's actually an invitation, a challenge to rise above the pain and create something extraordinary from it. It pushes you out of your comfort zone and into a space where growth is inevitable. It's in those moments of heartbreak and disappointment that you start to rebuild, brick by brick, a stronger foundation for yourself. What you're building isn't just a life, it's a fortress of self-worth and confidence that no rejection can ever dismantle again. The person who rejected you may think they've taken something from you, but they haven't. They've actually given you something far more valuable. They've given you the opportunity to grow into a version of yourself that doesn't just survive but thrives. They've handed you the chance to prove, not to them but to yourself, just how powerful you truly are. And here's the part they didn't see coming, the fire they've ignited within you. This isn't a fire they can control. It's not about proving them wrong or making them regret their decision. It's about proving to yourself that you are unstoppable. This fire will drive you to rise higher than you ever thought possible, to achieve things you once only dreamed of, and to do so with a grace and strength they never saw coming. Rejection also teaches you about perspective. It's not a reflection of your worth, but a reflection of their inability to see your value. And that's okay. Not everyone will recognize your light, but that doesn't mean you stop shining. In fact, rejection gives you the chance to shine even brighter. It's a reminder that your worth isn't determined by someone else's opinion or decision. It's determined by how you see yourself and what you choose to do with the life that's in front of you. As you rise from rejection, something incredible happens. You start to let go of the need for validation from others. You realize that the only approval you truly need is your own. And when you reach that point, you become magnetic. You start attracting the right opportunities, the right people, and the right energy into your life. The person who rejected you, they'll notice. They'll see the glow, the transformation, and the undeniable presence you now carry. But by then, you'll have moved so far beyond needing their recognition that it won't even matter. Rejection is a redirection, a call to focus on what truly matters: your growth, your happiness, your journey. It's the moment where you stop chasing after someone else's acceptance and start chasing after your own greatness. It's not about forgetting the pain or pretending it didn't happen. It's about using that pain as fuel to light the fire within you, a fire that burns brighter than ever before. And that fire? It changes everything. It turns doubt into confidence, fear into courage, and pain into power. It transforms you into someone who doesn't just survive rejection but thrives because of it. The person who rejected you thought they were walking away from someone ordinary. What they didn't realize is that they were helping create someone extraordinary. And by the time they see it, you'll be too far ahead, too radiant to even notice. It's a crushing feeling, isn't it? That moment when someone you care about, someone you admired, decides to walk away. Rejection has a way of shaking you to your core. It leaves you questioning everything about yourself. Was I not good enough? Did I fall short in some way? The weight of those thoughts can feel unbearable, but there's a truth hiding in plain sight. That rejection, as painful as it is, has nothing to do with your worth. It feels personal, but it isn't. It doesn't define you, it liberates you. The problem is, we've been conditioned to look outward for validation. We seek approval, love, and acceptance from others, thinking their opinions are a reflection of who we are. When rejection comes, it feels like a verdict, a declaration that we weren't enough. But the truth is, no one else gets to decide your worth. That power lies solely in your hands. What rejection does is give you an opportunity to see where you've been outsourcing your value. It's a brutal mirror, showing you all the places you've been handing your power away. It hurts, but it's a necessary wake-up call. You don't need someone else's acknowledgement to be whole. You don't need their love or acceptance to be valuable. You are already complete, and no amount of rejection can take that away from you. When someone rejects you, it's often more about their limitations than your shortcomings. They might not have the capacity to see your brilliance. They might not be ready to match your energy, your passion, or your authenticity. That's on them, not you. Their inability to appreciate you says nothing about your value. It says everything about where they are in their own journey. And that realization is freeing. The pain of rejection can feel suffocating, but it's also a powerful teacher. It forces you to turn inward and ask yourself the hard questions. Who am I when no one is applauding? Who am I when no one is choosing me? Those questions are uncomfortable, but they hold the key to your liberation. Because when you find the answers, you realize that your worth was never up for debate. It was never dependent on anyone else's opinion. This is your chance to take back your power. It's your chance to stop letting others dictate how you see yourself. Rejection doesn't diminish your light, it simply gives you an opportunity to shine brighter. It's a reminder to stop looking outward and start looking inward. You don't need their validation. You don't need their approval. Everything you've ever needed has been within you all along. It's not easy to shift your focus in the aftermath of rejection. The pain feels raw, and the self-doubt can creep in. But that's where the transformation begins. You have a choice. You can let the rejection define you, or you can let it fuel your growth. Choose to rise. Choose to see yourself through your own eyes, not the lens of someone who couldn't recognize your value. Rejection often feels like an ending, but it's actually a beginning. It's a chance to rebuild, to redefine who you are on your terms. It's an opportunity to step into your power and realize that your worth isn't tied to anyone else's actions. It's tied to your belief in yourself. When you choose to see rejection as a stepping stone rather than a stumbling block, everything changes. You start to see it for what it is, a redirection, not a reflection of your inadequacy. The irony is that the person who rejected you will eventually see the light. They'll notice the transformation, the confidence, the unshakable self-assurance you now carry. They'll see the glow that comes from knowing your worth and owning it. But by the time they notice, you'll be too far ahead. You'll have grown into someone who no longer needs their recognition or validation. This isn't about proving them wrong. It's not about making them regret their decision. It's about proving to yourself that you were always enough. It's about reclaiming the narrative and deciding that your worth isn't negotiable. It's about stepping into the fullness of who you are and letting that be enough. Rejection is painful, but it's also a catalyst. It pushes you to dig deeper, to rise higher, and to claim your power. It teaches you that your value isn't determined by someone else's inability to see it. It teaches you that you are enough just as you are. So when rejection comes, let it remind you of your strength. Let it push you to love yourself even more fiercely. Let it be the moment you decide once and for all that no one else gets to define your worth.